everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Tonya, and if you're returning, well, today I'm going to be working on spring and Easter DIYs. Now for this first design, I'm going to be using two of those wood bunnies from Dollar Tree, and yes, I had to make another planner. This one turned out so pretty. Now my first thought on this design was to take some antique wax and some of that plaster color paint, and I really did like the tone here, but then I remembered that I had that vinyl shelf liner, so I decided to take some of that shelf liner and put on the outside of this bunny, and absolutely love how this design turned out. It looks so great with my neutral decor. Now I'm just gonna hot glue this on, and that worked really well with this being the vinyl because you can't really see any of the hot glue because the vinyl is so thick. So that's a good little tip for this. I know a lot of times we can't use hot glue when we're gluing things down like this, but it worked perfect with this vinyl, which made this design very simple to do. Now I almost put it on the back side too, but I decided not to. On the next one I may. You'll have to let me know what you think if you would have put it on the back side and the front. But I liked how it turned out. It almost gave it that shadow effect once I got this set up and displayed. And it really looked like there was a bunny there with the 2 feet and everything. So that turned out really great. But look how cute this is. Now you could actually put a little pot in there and put a real plant in there if you like. Now I went ahead and used up the rest of that greenery that I had. And this is a little different than the other design that I did in my other video with the planter centerpiece. I'll leave a link to that in the description below for you. But this looks so wonderful on my shelf, and look how pretty this is, everyone. Now for my next design, I'm going to be making this carrot wreath door greeter, and I love how this one turned out also. I'm going to be using one of those witch hat wire wreath rims from Dollar Tree and just folding the top of it over and zip tying it down. And then I'm going to take some more yarn, and I love that yarn from Dollar Tree. And I thought I would go ahead and cover this one with yarn because that's kind of the theme I have in my home this year for my spring decor. So I thought I would just finish up and make my door greeter wreath with the yarn also. Now I am going to take some rope twine after I get this completely wrapped in my yarn, and I just thought that would give a little bit of contrast with that light beige color. And I've said that before, if you follow me, you know I love to do things with different contrast but yet in the same color tone. Now I am going to pop this greenery in here first because I was really just wanting to see if this would fit in here well, and it did. It worked really great. Now this actually is some rosemary greenery that I picked up at Walmart because I used up all of my Dollar Tree greenery, but you could just as well use that greenery from Dollar Tree for this. Now here I am. I'm going to take that rope twine and I'm just going to wrap that around, and I really like how that kind of finished it off where you kind of got the two-tone of the carrot there. Now I'm going to take some of that moss from Dollar Tree and just glue right around the top there. And I thought that just added the effect to make it a little more realistic for the carrot. And then I thought, what a fun idea, everyone, to take these little moss bunnies and just glue down through the carrot. And now I picked up the smaller white lilies from Dollar Tree, and those fit in this design perfectly. And then they have these little wood signs you'll see here in a moment. And they're really tiny for $1.25, everyone, but they're like that perfect size, and that's what I'll put on the front there. Oh, I almost forgot. That was the color that I added in. This, I think they call this heather on their tag, But I like how it was just the faintest color of almost like a hint of green with the yellow in it. And I thought this would still work really well for my neutral decor. And a lot of times when you're doing the neutral decor, you can really get by with the really pale colors. Now, there you can see I painted that little sign I picked up from Dollar Tree. And if you can tell, I pulled off the IN on here. So I was able just to take a black marker and just write that in on this particular design. It's really hard when you work with small things in the Cricut to get them to lift up. But look how beautiful this turned out, everyone. I just love this design. Now for my next design, I made this little planter box with these sweet little bunnies popping up behind there. I took 2 of those crate boxes and just knocked off one side, and now I'm gonna have to take those craft sticks and just glue them down to hold this back together. But this makes the perfect size for those succulent containers that they have at Dollar Tree. So definitely keep that in mind, because it's a way to make a really cute little planter box like this. Now, after I got those glued down securely, I'm just going to take that Blanche White, Cottage White again, and I love this color. I use it in everything. It's one of my favorites that you can get. And I put a couple coats on there, and then I also put a couple coats on the bunnies, and I dried them really well. Well, everyone, while we're watching this, I do want to say thank you to everyone that has been subscribing to my channel. And I have been paying attention to everybody commenting about the gift cards. So I'm thinking that I'm going to go with the Dollar Tree gift card and a couple of items that I want to throw in for you as a little surprise. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope that you are enjoying my DIYs, that you would consider doing so. And everyone, I just want to tell you that I am so thrilled that the channel is growing, and that is all thanks to you. And that is why I will keep doing these giveaways, because I want to give back to you, because you're giving so much to me by sharing on my journey that I'm on with my creativity and building my channel. Now, I did something really simple for this one. I just took my Cricut and made Hello Spring, another one of those little signs, and popped that on the front. And everyone, look how adorable this is. Okay, for our last DIY, I'm going to make this Birdhouse Wall Art. Love this one also. And these picture frames were so easy to work with. And I decided to add some little richer colors in here. So I ended up taking some of that wood grain shelf liner, and I did something really unique with that. I added some paint on top of it and kind of just blended it in. I wanted it to almost look like it was that aged wood with some moss on it. And the effect of this turned out really well. Now, I will tell you, when you are applying this to the glass, it works so well. And I'm cutting little slits in there because that's a little tip for this wood grain, that you can pop the bubbles out by just cutting a little slit, and you'll never notice that you did that. Now, I end up doing a couple of coats of paint because I wanted this to cover really well before I sanded it a little to make it look aged. And of course, I'm gonna paint my birdhouses white, and you guys all know I love my white so much. Now, after I get everything dried really well, I'm gonna start working on my shelf liner paper. And the first thing I'm going to do, you'll see, is I'm going to take some of that linen color chalk paint and just dry brush that on. And then I'll be taking a baby wipe, and really what I want to do is I was just wanting to really lighten this up and make it match with my decor a little bit better. And then I'm going to be adding some of that alfalfa green in here and just kind of working it in. And once I take the baby wipe to it, it just smears it in enough that it really makes it look really neat once it's dried really well. Now I'm going to pull in that alfalfa green and put that on there. And you'll see it's really wet right now. So you'll see when it's hanging up, it's really dried. And then I'm going to take my little sanding block and sand that down and really blend it in with the lines. And I love how this looks with my white birdhouses on top. Now I'm going to age these frames up just a little bit. I really like that when you can do that and have the black shine come through. Now, I do use some super glue and a little bit of hot glue, but definitely my clamps are a little too small there, so I had to really hold it for a few seconds. I did end up getting a couple of them to stay on, but let this dry really well. Really, you should let it dry overnight. I let mine dry a few hours before I actually hung it up on the wall. But isn't that pretty how that dried on that shelf liner? It was just enough to pull in some of my neutral color tones. Now I decided just to line my birdhouses up, and I'm going to take some more of that moss and pop in the center there. And then I'm going to use some of those lavender picks that they have at Dollar Tree. And I just picked some different colors. I wanted mostly greenery on these. You'll see here in a moment. So I added some little sprigs of greenery. And then I thought, I'm going to go ahead and add just a couple little flowers of lavender and then a couple of the little bit of yellow on there, just because I thought that would blend well where I put the little bit of yellow on my carrot wreath. But everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's DIYs, and if so, don't forget to leave me a comment below. And if you had a favorite, leave me that in the comments below and let me know which one's your favorite. I love to hear from each and every one of you, and I am so happy that so many of you have been subscribing to the channel. And let me know if there's something else that you would like to see me create. You know I'm a big fan of all my neutral decor, but you'll see me popping in a little bit of color as the spring and summer comes along, because I think that's just really pretty for that season. And here it is hanging on my wall, and I love how this turned out. Well, everyone, I will be doing the thrift store makeovers again Wednesday, and I may do a haul in between there. I'm definitely wanting to bring to you the rest of those thrift store makeovers next Wednesday. And we'll stick with our Dollar Tree DIYs every Saturday. I'll try to have it uploaded at 11 a.m. Saturday, but if not, we'll go with the 7 p.m. again. Well, everyone, have a wonderful and blessed weekend, and I will see you on the next one.